report has examined payment trends in over 40 countries and found that India has emerged as a global leader in payments thanks to UPI and its next-generation real-time payment infrastructure. Now, this report shows that the cash usage in India has declined rapidly from 71% of post-transaction values in 2019 to just 27% as of 2022. And meanwhile, e-commerce account-to-account payments have also grown by 53% to $12 billion as of 2022. Joining me now to discuss the findings of this report is Harish Prasad, who's head of Banking India at FIS. Harish, thank you very much for being with us here on Startup Street. If you could start by telling us what are some of the most interesting findings from this latest report, especially as far as India is concerned.
Well, thank you, Ritu, for having me here on this show. It's a very interesting set of findings that we have. Of course, there's some very obvious ones such as UPI and UPI volumes, which have increased by leaps and bounds and hitting 7.8 billion in December 2022. But at the same time, we see some very interesting statistics around the use of electronic wallets as well, right? Which again, for various reasons, and probably more specifically due to the linkage back to UPI, have grown significantly, up to almost, I believe, 35% of, especially on the point of sale side, I think almost to 35%.
What are the trends that are playing out to support the thesis that, cash usage is coming down?
So the account-to-account transfers are what are hitting, account-to-account payments are what are hitting cash significantly, and I think the infiltration of UPI into the rural markets, we believe will continue pretty strongly, and that will impact cash usage as well. And again, I mean, there could potentially be an angle we expect to develop over the next year or so in terms of the CBDC, the retail CBDC taking off and directly impacting cash as well. And again, that's not evident from this year's report, but we expect that once that is launched fully, we expect that will impact cash further. But again, rural offtake of UPI, we expect will start to increase, and that will drive pretty much reduction in use of cash over a period of time.
What will get us to this next big leg of growth in digital payments? Because offline UPI is something that's in the offing. Is that going to be the game changer, or what do you think are some of the challenges to be overcome?
Yeah, the offline UPI aspect is mainly to address certain issues we have with UPI as is, right? I think that you're right. I think to an extent that will definitely help. And most of that, though, is also going to impact and positively impact the urban use of UPI for payments. But we expect you're right. On the rural side, that will have a big impact as well, because again, connectivity and availability of good connectivity is required for UPI, and that's something you typically tend to see have more issues when it comes to rural markets. We expect that to help. And again, I think overall, the general use of cash continues to decline on the retail side, and I think that trend, especially driven by convenience, right? I think that we expect will drive growth on the rural side.
The report says by 2026, account-to-account payments are projected to increase their share in e-commerce payments from 15% to 24% by 26. What is going to drive this kind of growth? What would be the enablers for this?
The account-to-account payment space, going back to India, right? India, and especially in India, is directly, the growth there is directly driven by UPI. And again, UPI, especially when they're linked back to accounts, will drive that growth. And again, if you were to look at the kind of growth we expect, and even if you look at the historic growth on UPI, year to year, we've consistently seen that grow by leaps and bounds. The footprint of UPI usage has expanded as well to various other use cases, and I think we also expect that to go beyond just retail into certain corporate use cases as well, and that will also expand the use of account-to-account payments. So I think there are a variety of factors.
Harish, even the e-commerce market, according to the report, is supposed to grow from $83 billion to $150 billion by 26. Here, of course, the use of digital has been a key driver, but what else is going to get us to that number?
There are multiple factors here, and again, there's been three main drivers of e-commerce growth. One, of course, is the fact that you have more adoption and more people getting online. I think that is definitely a factor. The second factor is availability of more payment options, and as payment options available for online e-commerce expand, we've seen growth being driven by that as well, right? And especially UPI was definitely one thing that gave a big fillip to online e-commerce. The third factor is, of course, and will be continue to play a very important role, is access to credit. Credit at pretty much the point of purchase. Of course, credit cards continue to reasonably do well, at least in India, at least from a value perspective. BNPL, and again, that's the other aspect on credit driving expansion of e-commerce. I think that will also start to play an increasing role in terms of expanding e-commerce growth.
All right, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of